Gospel and homily for the feast of Christ the King, Year B. The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John. Are you the King of the Jews? Pilate asked. Jesus replied, do you ask this of your own accord, or have others spoken to you about me? Pilate answered, am I a Jew? It is your own people and the chief priests who have handed you over to me. What have you done? Jesus replied, mine is not a kingdom of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, my men would have fought to prevent my being surrendered to the Jews. But my kingdom is not of this kind. So you are a king then, said Pilate. It is you who say it, answered Jesus. Yes, I am a king. I was born for this. I came into the world for this, to bear witness to the truth, and all who are on the side of truth listen to my voice. The Gospel of the Lord. Kings and queens today, especially in the Western world, are by and large figureheads. But way back in history, most were autocrats who ruled mainly through fear. Looking at an engaging BBC series, Wolf Hall, recently, you could lose your head at the drop of a hat if you looked crooked at Henry VIII. But they could not have ruled as despots without the connivance of others. Are secular rulers today that much different? To maintain power, they have their spin doctors who spice up the press releases to woo the public. Most have financial backers who subtly lean on them for favours. You'll have heard of the proverb, when money talks, the truth is silent. That shocking war in the Middle East is no exception. I'm sure there's money behind that. The kingdom of God, on the other hand, is transparent and based on undiluted truth. There are no hidden agendas, no backroom deals. Jesus said, those who live by the truth come out into the light. The arguments put forward for legalizing assisted suicide, for instance, are not based on the truth, or they certainly compromise the truth. The Gospel reminds us that the kingdom of God is either within us or not there at all. The battle between truth and falsehood goes on in the minds, hearts, and consciences of each person. The decisions we make, the motivation for action, and the way we inform our consciences will be the litmus test as to whether we're subjects of the kingdom or not. I would say that modern-day culture is underpinned by what is known as a utilitarian philosophy. It's summed up by the English philosopher Jeremy Bentham in 1776, who said, and listen, it is the greatest happiness of the greatest number that is the measure of right and wrong. And that's still true today. However, it's at odds with what St. Augustine said. Wrong is wrong, even though everybody's doing it. Right is right, even though nobody's doing it. And Jesus himself said, the road to life is narrow, the road to his kingdom is narrow, and the road to perdition is wide and spacious. Remember, despite initially winning their approval, the majority of people deserted Jesus at the end because they were only interested in a secular kingdom, getting rid of the Romans, that type of kingdom. The scene before Pilate provides a classic encounter between the kingdoms of truth and falsehood. Jesus emphasized to Pilate that his kingdom is not of this world, and we heard that in the gospel today. The whole trial of Jesus was a charade. He was betrayed for 30 pieces of silver. False witnesses were brought forward. Barabbas got away with murder. And in washing his hands, Pilate buried the truth. He condemned an innocent man, even though he told the crowd he could find no reason for his death sentence. In so doing, he went against his better judgment in order to avoid trouble with Caesar and the unruly mob who were clamoring for his crucifixion. So, which voice do we follow? Is it the voice of Pilate, who buried the truth by going along with the pack? Or is it the voice of Jesus, who says the same words to me as he says to Pilate? All who are on the side of truth, listen to my voice. Last week, the gospel was about God's judgment, and I think we need have no fear of that judgment if, despite opposition, we stick by the truth when called upon to do so. By so doing, the kingdom of God will be ours. Now, thank you all very much for listening, and God bless you all.